Welcome to the global reveal of the new Ford Focus, and it really is all new. The last all-new Ford Focus came out in 2011, so quite a few years ago now. I'm in London, specifically the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, and that's because this is where Ford have decided to base their European Smart Mobility HQ. This is the place that they decide what the future of mobility is going to be and how they can best address the issues that are brought up from that, and also make money. Of course, that's an important part of what Ford does. So, the new Focus, and whereas the old Focus was built to be the most competent all-rounder it could be, this new Focus, they've tried to, pardon the pun, make it more focused for individual groups of customers. So there are more model variants and they're more specific right from the launch as opposed to developing over time. I can't cover everything because there's just far too much, frankly, and I don't want you to fall asleep, but I will do my best. As you'd expect, this is the most technologically advanced Focus there's ever been. It's also the most rigid Focus there's ever been. It's the most aerodynamic Focus there's ever been, and like for like compared to the old model, it's lighter as well. The maximum weight saving on a like-for-like model is 88 kilos, which is quite significant. It's based on Ford's new C2 platform, and it's more lightweight, more rigid, and it can be stretched or shrunk to be used in different applications. But this is the first time it's actually been used. All in all, the wheelbase has been stretched by 53 millimeters, but the overall width, the overall length, hasn't changed a huge amount. At this stage, there are 4 models to choose from. You can either have the ST line, which is the one behind me, or you can have the Vignale, the Active, or the standard Focus. And you can get all of those cars as either a hatchback or an estate, or wagon, as Ford are calling it. The standard Focus, I think it looks pretty smart, and you can see the similarity in design between the new Focus and the new Fiesta as well. And overall, I just think it's actually quite a pretty car. The Active, slightly less my cup of tea. It gets a higher ride height, it's 30 millimeters higher than the other models, and it gets plastic body cladding all over the place. And yeah, it's not, that wouldn't be my choice. The Vignale is the luxury model. That's supposed to be the most relaxing to drive, the car with the most kit. And the ST line is the most sporty model you can buy at the moment. The ride height drops by 10 millimeters and you get stiffer springs and dampers as well, and different bodywork. And as you can see, it looks rather good. It's definitely my favourite. If I was going to buy a new Focus, it would be the ST line. But of course, there will be an ST at some point, it's just not here yet. And eventually, at some point in the future, I'm sure there will be an RS as well, but for now, that's all you've got. ST line, Active, Vignale, and the standard Focus. Prices start at £17,930 and they rise all the way to £25,450 for the Vignale, and the ST line is £21,570. Engines, you can have a 1 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine with either 85 PS, 100 PS or 125 PS. That's roughly the same in brake horsepower. Or you can have a brand new 1.5 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost petrol engine, and that has either 150 PS or 182 PS. As for diesel, you can have a 1.5 litre with either 95 PS or 125 PS, or you can have a bigger 2 litre diesel with 150 PS. The engine I think I'm probably most looking forward to driving is the 182 PS 1.5 litre 3-cylinder EcoBoost engine, because it's a slightly detuned version of the engine that's in the new Fiesta ST. That's got 200 PS, this has got 182, so actually it's not a huge drop. So what else do you need to know? Well, let's start with the suspension, and the suspension changes depending on which model you go for. As standard at the front on all models, it's a McPherson strut suspension system. At the back though, is where it changes. You get what's called a short, long arm independent rear suspension system, and you get that on the Active model, the Vignale model, all wagon models, and also the higher output engines, so the 1.5 litre EcoBoost engine and the 2 litre diesel engine. On the other models and on the cars with less power, the smaller engines, you get what's called a twist beam system, and it's similar to that of the Fiesta ST. You also get continually controlled dampers all the way around, and they are electronic dampers that can react to bumps in the road and things like potholes better than traditional dampers. And they also form part of a new drive mode system. You've got 3 modes, you've got normal, sport and eco, and they control things like the dampers, the steering, the throttle response, and if you've got it, also the new 8-speed automatic gearbox. There's also a system called electronic brake booster, and what that does is it builds up the brake pressure and allows you to stop up to a metre quicker than you'd be able to without the system. And as for gearboxes, as I said, a new 8-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual. Deliveries will start in September, and as I said, you can order all of the cars as either a hatchback or a wagon or an estate, or whatever you want to call it. It's the longer one. And what about the launch itself? Well, actually, it's been quite good fun, although these events are always, well, they're scrums really, because everyone wants to get photos, video, their written stuff out first, so it's always quite intense. You've got to have quite sharp elbows. We started in a big presentation hall. Important people came up and spoke about the new car, how important it was. One person I didn't expect to see was Nicky Grist. He was the co-driver with Colin McRae in many rallies in the 90s and early 2000s. Bit of a legend in Ford terms because he used to rally a Ford Focus, and then after that, a few more speeches, the cars were rolled out. The cars were brought out one by one, and more important people spoke about each of the models and how they varied from model to model. One thing you'll always notice if you come to an event like this is that you can always spot where someone important is because there'll be a small crowd around them. Journalists flock to important people like seagulls do to bags of chips by the sea. And one thing I always find is that because everyone wants to be first to get the picture or the video, you'll be set up for a shot very nicely, and then people will just wander in, taking their own pictures, completely oblivious to what you're doing with no regard whatsoever. It can be irritating when you've got the perfect shot and someone just walks in and opens a door. It's really helpful. And also, one very strange point specific to this launch, there was a journalist, I don't know where she was from or who she was writing for, but she had a pair of pink high heels and she came and placed them in front of the car, stood back and took a picture. Obviously that must be her trademark. Zorro had the Z on whatever he was near, he cut with his sword. She has her pink stilettos. Anyway, that's the new Focus. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you've enjoyed seeing the new car, hope you enjoyed me talking about it endlessly, and hopefully we'll be driving it in the next few months. Make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you visit newmotoring.com. And with that, I'm going to leave with evidence of what I was talking about. People are always in the way.